From my own experience, I've seen it in my country that we've had the first generation after independence, which sort of built our country, and then after that we have their children who've expanded their businesses. But we are having a challenge being able to take full advantage of this responsibility as a third generation, and so we see more and more businesses which are family run having to struggle, and they need to get like new blood and new ideas so that they can be prosperous.
Having just listened to the panel discussion we had that included a number of people who are running family businesses, I think there is a lot that we can learn as South Africans, because I come from South Africa, about how we get other generations involved in businesses so that we could have many more generations to come that will run these businesses, because in our country we don't see a lot of that, especially amongst black people in South Africa.
I felt that the older generation, well, I'm approaching 70, should see that we remain like the roots of a tree. We should only be looking at a vision and leave the details to the younger generation, and to mentoring the generation not Y but the generation Z. Those who are still in their late teens or 20s, you should try and mentor them. That imbibe the right values of the family and of the entrepreneurship.
I think the gentleman, my name is Johannes Kopf, I work for the Austrian Public Employment Service, and I think the gentleman really explained what we call buddy principle, which means a well-experienced professional works together and helps a smart young worker that is innovative and brings new ideas to the company. Today we know that this combination is the best for success and prosperity within a company.
The previous gentleman explained that one of the best models that how a company could operate would be so that there would be a seasoned professional who would be mentoring young and innovative leaders in their organization, and I think that's a very good model, but it also makes innovation only the job of the young people. And while as I feel that it's very important that the young leaders are very active in innovation, I think it's also something that also the more experienced generations should take part in. And how to do that? I think the best way to keep ideas fresh and keep your mind in this state that fits innovation is to do different things every now and then. So if you're doing something for a very long time, it may be a good idea to do something else for a while.
We are talking here about not the clash of generations, but the shake hands of generations. And answering to my previous speaker, I would say, of course, it's not only the young who are asked to be innovative, it's also the old who are asked to still stay being innovative, and me being sort of in between a sandwich generation. I think we should open and embrace the old and the young, and hope to find the way and the innovation from both sides, and combine it for a better future and a better success in our companies.
I would change that and say that the third disrupts, because the third generation will come in with a whole lot of ideas, thoughts, wanting to do things much smarter, quicker, faster. And they're living in an age where technology is really making things so quick and so simple. So I would change that word to say disrupts rather than destroys. I love the way, this thing about us being the sandwich generation is being adopted by everyone. It's so true, because I think the generation above us were probably the pioneers who really built these companies. And then there's us who have to help them nurture, expand it. But I think the next generation is the one who's really going to change the way things are being managed, companies are being built, because they would like to do it much quicker and faster. And I think, where capital is not scarce, where human resource is available, companies will only expand and be far more successful than what they used to be.
I believe that the third generation is an innovative generation versus a generation that destroys. This is because innovation is necessity is a mother of all innovation, and our current generation is providing disruptive and game-changing solution that will ensure that we even have a longer generation, and that the next society or generation lives better than we are currently living in.
Well, I think regarding innovation, one of the big puzzles that we're seeing is that when we think about innovation, we tend to see the innovation that we basically have seen in the past, but it's quite hard to guess what innovation is going to look like in the near future. So talking about kind of the opportunities, also about the threats of innovations, I think it's pretty difficult because the upside and the downsides are really, really hard to guess. Just think about the internet and how that has changed our lives to the positive, but also in some aspect to the negative.
The concept of innovation is obviously what is going to drive the future. When you speak about the future, we look at it in terms of the technological innovation that would have. But, a couple of years ago, Clifford Stowe said in 100 years from now, society is not really going to be defined by the technological innovations that we have. It's going to be more about the quality and content of the children that we have right now. So technology and innovation is great, but we need to invest in the young people, in our kids, because ultimately they're the ones who define what tomorrow will look like.
So I totally agree with what was just said. I think, in fact, we have to invest in our children because our children are the ones that are going to bring the technological innovation. If you just look today at all the apps that people are considering, all the young people in school who are thinking of new businesses, I think we absolutely have to invest in our children. It's the children that will drive technology. Just think about the technological innovations of today. Many, many of them were started by young people. People when they were in college, look at Facebook. People when they were in high school. There's a man in the UK that was in 10th grade, and he's already become a billionaire because he sold his innovative technology to bigger innovative technologies. Young people are the future. Investment in their education is necessary for them to expand their horizons, and we are all defined by the people who come after us. Thank you.
Yes, young people are of course the future. That's a cliche. But for 40 years or more, that's been the underlying theme of this conference, whatever the thing on the box said the conference was all about. I still worry that there are too many people up on the main platform who are old white males, and there aren't enough students from the leaders of tomorrow who break through onto the stage. They're allowed to ask questions at the back of the hall. Not many of them actually get to make statements or to chair parts of the symposium. That's the next breakthrough, and there ought to really be a clash of generations about that.
Well, yeah, definitely right, and there are differences, and there will be still difference. But the force and the future are in the collaboration between generations, the discussion between generations. There are so many things we can learn from you, as you told you old white men, doing very exciting and remarkable things. But we have this potential and ambition to do it as well as you do, and probably even better in the future. So let us move forward together.
Well, I think there certainly are areas where both generations are clashing, but I also think that there are a lot of places where the current generation can learn from older generations. We can see the mistakes that they've made and the things they've done that have worked, and I think around those areas there's the greatest potential for collaboration and cooperation. And so while there may be some clashes, I actually think that the areas we can learn from them are where there's going to be kind of the most harmony and unification.
Well, I think what has just been said, that the younger generation learn from the older generation, that sounds nice, and maybe that should be, particularly the mistakes of the older generation. The sadness is that they never do learn, and history repeats itself. Sorry about that. history repeats itself, and so that's the way, father to son. The father says this is how it should be done, the son does it a completely different way. That is the way of our lives. We just have to manage it, and we hope it doesn't end up in strife. But the fact is, the younger generation does not learn from the older generation, and they should try it sometime.